You walked off on your own. You found a place to sit where you were left. You texted Cove to meet up. You walked off on your own. Resigned to your fate, you picked up where you left off, browsing the stalls. One hooked your attention. While most stalls were selling various garden-grown foods, this one held an array of homemade fudge. There were even vegan versions of every option. You got close to the stall, but soon your gaze fell elsewhere. Nah, I'd get closer. You sidestepped past a few other people and got yourself right in front of the counter for a better look. There was a widespread dozens and dozens of delicately cut squares of decadence. The owner smiled and approached you to explain their shop. The fudge is solid and sold in boxes of 4 pieces. They either can be all the same, all different, or any mix you like. Are you looking to buy any today? You didn't want anything. You wanted to get yourself a box. You wanted to get a box to share with everyone. You wanted to get a box just for Cove. I'll get a box to share with everyone. The whole selection was too good not to share. I wanted to get a box. And that was all. Yeah, I can use some fudge. I'm glad you came to the right place then. For the group you picked milk chocolate and white chocolate, cookies and cream, and red velvet. Oh, that was it, I guess. Everyone else was definitely going to be happy with your regroups when you regroup later. You paid, and there was no stopping the large grin going all across your face. Pivoting on your heels, you wove your way back to the center of the path. You wondered for a moment what you would do now. None of the stalls were catching your eyes. What did grab your attention, however, was a head of familiar seafoam hair sticking out above the crowd. You instantly it was Cove. He hadn't noticed you yet, but he was walking in your direction. He held a couple of bags tightly in hand. Strangely, you couldn't spot your mom or his dad anywhere. You let him go. You called out, Cove, over here! He instantly stopped dead in his tracks. Alert, Cove's head snapped up and his eyes searched the crowd until they landed on you. His whole demeanor brightened at the sight. Z. He weaved through passerby awkwardly in an attempt to get through as fast as reasonably possible, nearly stumbling more than once. You went over to him. You couldn't move from where you were. You went over to him. You stepped around a few people to meet Cove part way. It was undeniable that he was shopping by himself. You stared at him confused. Where's the rest of your group? Cove crossed his arms defiantly, the bag twisting in front of him. Your mom took my dad and I ended up alone. Why are you by yourself? Ma and Liz abandoned me too.
What?
I can't believe this happened to both of us. They planned it. They had to, but I don't know why. Are they pranking us? I don't know either. And you meant it. You couldn't fathom what your moms were up to. Cove shook his head, trying to clear his mind.
Well,
I guess things are just up to us now. Yeah. So, his gaze wandered off as one of your parents might simply appear if he kept checking, and you could tell he was still processing the situation. He scratched the back of his head, looking sheepish. Do you want to forget about whatever's happening and go shopping together? Happily not, I'm sure. Definitely. There was little care in your mind for what your moms had planned. You were ecstatic at the thought of spending the rest of the trip with
don't
them.
worry about it.
Even if we have to make our own fun, we're gonna have a good trip. Cove smiled at you encouragingly. It made you feel more optimistic now, a little bit more hopeful. Glad that he was there, but still overall unhappy. Nothing. It was a terrible trip either way. A little bit more hopeful. You weren't alone anymore, and you could already feel yourself becoming better prepared to get through the rest of the day. So where to first? I don't mind going back the way I came. It's new to you. It's not hard to miss stuff, even if I've gone past it. What have you gotten? Cove shuffled his bags around and started pulling them out so you could peek inside each one. You recognized the array of things he picked up around the market. I mostly got typical things I can use pretty easily so far. Nothing super exciting. There were a few peppers, some lemons, and sweet potatoes, among other things, that were wrapped up so you couldn't discern what they were. What Cove bought made sense, but it was far from a completed selection. You glanced around at the nearby stalls. Want to start over there? Cove followed your eyes as you pointed at one of the larger stalls. It was filled with several kinds of staple fruits and vegetables. Yeah, let's go. Once a few people finished paying and moved you and Cove out yourselves, directly in front of the shop, there were so many things to pick from. Yeah, let's get apples, oranges, onions, peppers, lettuce, carrots, lime, spinach, potatoes, and that was everything. The shop owner put your selection together and handed it to you in a couple bags. Happily, you paid and waited for Cove to make his purchase. Oh wait, that was just for me? I can't cook, so that was more for like, hey, if someone else wanted to cook it. Ready to go? Cove grinned, satisfied with his new choices. He had added another bag to his small but growing collection. He nodded. Right. Okay, now, let's go. Together, you and Cove wandered the market on the lookout for any stalls that caught your attention. Cove was walking around with a spring in his step, talking about the various meal ideas he had in mind. After a while, you had to go greater distances to find something of interest. Several of the stalls were selling the same goods. It was only a matter of now of which you wanted to buy from. You continued ambling down the path until Cove disappeared suddenly from your peripheral vision, pulling you away from your thoughts. Cove? You spun around, spotting him some steps back. He was standing still. You followed his eye line past the crowds. Immediately, you knew what grabs him. Homemade jams and local honeys. The stall was glittering with quaint glass jars, stacked high, each encasing gels of varying colors. Cove's eyes were practically sparkling at the sight. His feet automatically bent to take him there, likely without being fully aware he had made an unexplained detour. When he got closer, you were surprised there were even more varieties than you thought. There were even different honeys based on what type of pollen the bees used. Cove's focus seemed torn between a bottle of blackberry jam and one of Clover's honey. Did you want some honey? He said just as he teased him. I wonder on what on earth could you possibly want at this stall. Everything looked really good. You shook your head at him disapprovingly. You quietly left him to the dilemma. I wonder what on earth you could possibly want at this stall. Your voice was dripping with sarcasm, and there was a holding in your laughter, and he gave you a disapproving side-eye. You thought things over for yourself, too. I don't really care, honestly. Yeah, you didn't get it. Amused, you watched Cove give in and just buy both the clover honey and the blackberry jam. He also went in getting spring wildflower honey and plum jam, too. The shop owner thoughtfully wrapped each in brown paper to protect them before putting them away in a bag. He handed the purchase to Cove.
Thank you.
You both stepped away from the stall. Cove didn't fail to notice the look you'd been giving him since he agonized over his toast toppers. Hey, this doesn't go bad for a long time, so why not stock up? I could have chosen one if I wanted to. Alright, Cove. It'll be nice to enjoy snacking on it for a while. As you began to stroll, Cove looked up to the sky. He smiled. It was sort of unexpected, considering all of this was technically in air, and unexpected changes often upset him. But he was happy, and Cove liked doing this kind of normal thing. And you can tell that Cove especially enjoyed doing these kind of things with you. You blushed thinking about how comfortable doing this with Cove felt. You were feeling better than you were earlier. You were just feeling down about how the trip turned out. Cove's pleased attitude annoyed you? I guess I'll go with the first option, because I feel like the other options don't make sense at all. You blushed thinking about how comfortable doing this with Cove felt. It felt more than normal or mundane. It felt right. I'm glad you're having a good time. We're so domestic. I wonder what the others are doing right now. Cove didn't seem to know what to say, and that was understandable. In your mind, you figured they would have regrouped by now. You wondered what Liz had to say about everything, but it wasn't that big of a deal. Later, when you spotted a less crowded area, you took a break from browsing. Cove started rummaging through one of his bags just to check on how his goods were doing. A smile grew on his face as he went on the next. He chuckled knowing that Cove wouldn't let anything go to waste. There wasn't a single doubt he was going to eat it all. You held a hand in front of your face as you squinted upwards. The sun had moved quite a bit. You'd been at the market for a good while now. Neither your feet nor your arms were sore right now, and Cove looked to be doing fine too. That was something that could be coming. There was a price to pay for this much shopping, and it wasn't always just money. Can you give me a piggyback ride? Could you carry these things? Want me to carry your bags? Want a piggyback ride? You quietly enjoyed the break from walking. could you carry my things? I'm weak.
Sure.
Okay, hand them over for you. For you, I can do it. Thank you. You flashed him your best smile and passed him the bags. Your arms were already feeling better as you watched Cove added your things to his own bundle. I really appreciate you doing this. He nodded while in thought. Cove was still deciding on how he was going to manage them all. He hooked a few on his forearms of his left side and hefted the rest in his hands. And with that, you and Cove continued your trip through the market together. Ma and Mom had both texted you during the trip that only to say that they hoped you found some good stuff and that they'd see you later. There were no answers on where they went or why. You and Cove continued to wend your way through the bustling market, the list of outstanding items steadily shrinking while bags grew everywhere. Eventually, Cove realized that he hadn't checked his own phone in a while. The two of you came to a stop in the nearest alcove where you'd be out of the steady stream of people perusing the stalls, and he pulls out his phone. Cove rearranged all the bags he was carrying, freeing a hand so that he could pull out his phone. You watched his eyes dart over the screen as he read the waiting messages. Not important. Oh, not important. I can reply to that later. He mumbled his verdict under his breath. Then Cove's face scrunched up with confusion. Wait, I've got a message from my dad. Listen to this. Cove, I wasn't part of the plan. I didn't know what was going on when I left with Z's mom. Z's mom, where are you? He sent that ages ago. I didn't hear it come within. He sent another one since then, says he hopes I'm alright and that he's not bothering me. The newest one says everyone's going to the parking lot soon, and we can meet up there. He lowered his phone, eyes narrowed. The same conclusion that was settling on you had landed on Cove as well. So it was on purpose. The crowd of people passing by stayed as noisy as ever, a sharp contrast to the silence that had fallen over you and Cove. He was rubbing the screen of his phone against his shirt, wiping away dust and debris, and continued scrubbing the screen long after anything could have remained, the action a poor substitute for pushing away the awkwardness of the moment. You felt alright about it all. This whole mess was so upsetting to you. You were furious. You didn't care about what your moms had done. You're struggling to comprehend this. The shock was too fresh for you to even know how you felt. I mean, honestly, like, even if, like, my parents did ship me with someone I didn't like, I'd be like, they're still my friend. I'll hang out with them. I don't really care. So either way, indifferent. It hadn't changed what you had done today. Only you had done it. Only who you'd done it with. Okay, fine. How are they going to explain this? It can be really weird, huh? He shrugged. You exhaled a tired sigh. That can be really weird, huh?
Are you okay?
His voice was gentle. Yeah, really. That's good. Abandoning us without a warning wasn't really a cool idea, even if they meant well. Which they probably did. He looked at you straight in the eyes. Not making a big deal out of this is nice. I'm not exactly thrilled personally, so if you do want to complain to me, you can. I can't. I don't have anything to complain about. Maybe I'm kind of mad. Okay, I'm disappointed. You can be kind of annoying to me. Oh, you didn't say anything. I don't have anything to complain about. Nothing? Ever? I don't know. His mouth hung over it, and then he laughed.
No way.
Come on, you've gotta have plenty of stuff to complain about, just from the stunts I've pulled myself, let alone what's happened today. He cracked a grin at that, despite yourself. He could certainly be a troublemaker when he wanted to be, but he could also be so kind. After a moment, he stepped away from you, face turned. Cove closed his eyes and took a deep breath. His brow creased, then furrowed deeper into a scowl, his arms tightly coiling together. So they did do something stupid. I knew it. His voice had taken on an exaggerated quality, but what truly distinguished it from Cove's typical speaking tone was the abundance of rage. This is such a chore. Parents are so dumb. Why do people have to go places with family members anyways? I hate them. You got it instantly. It had been years since the boy with the bowl cut had been in town for a summer, but Cove had never forgotten. Oh! This day he continued to unleash his impersonation whenever the moment felt right. Sometimes you wondered if the act had grown more exaggerated over the years, or if the kid really was always that ridiculous. That kid is never gonna live that down, huh? Not ever. I need stuff to Wow, that's really loud on the mic. I'm surprised. I'm opening it so far away. Ko gave you a lopsided smile, letting the joke rest for now. Come on, we should probably go meet up with the group. Oh. Come on, we should probably go meet up with the group. Yeah. You didn't dally any longer, slipping back into the crowd and making your way towards the entrance of the farmer's market. It didn't take long to reach the parking lot. Your parents, Mr. Holden, and Liz were already waiting there, and they waved at you both as you approached. Your own family seemed to be in a pretty good mood, in contrast to Mr. Holden. He stared at Cove with open concern as you got closer. Oh, does he feel bad? Because it's like, it's kind of similar like what, remember Cove was upset about before? But that was a bit ago, and we know they're fine now. But he's so worried his son will be mad at him. Hey bud, hey Z, how you doing? We'd be doing better if we hadn't been abandoned in a farmer's market by our families. So your mom sprouting at his response, Ma glancing from Cove to Mom with blinking eyes. Just because Z is really laid back doesn't mean you can just leave her out of your plans and expect her to go with it every time. Ma hung her head, ashamed, and Mom had a hand pressed to her cheek. You can tell that they were quickly regretting their scheme.
I am so sorry.
Her words were full of emotion. Mom squeezed Ma's arms. We were trying to make the errand more of a trip, less of a chore. Ma nodded. We didn't think you, Cove, and Liz wanted to be stuck trudging around the market with your parents all day. Especially not in the summer. But you're always very thoughtful and don't like to leave your moms behind, so we did ourselves. It was the only thing going to be if they're at the market, not the other stops, I promise. Still, you're right. Oh, what was that? Still, you're right. We could have just told you and let you make your own call. I am really sorry. Neither of us meant to upset you.
I'm really sorry.
Oh, gas no brakes, and we should have known better. Sorry. What? Mom ditched me too, after pulling her urgent potty break stunt. If that helps, I went off to do my own shopping as it seemed they'd planned.
Sorry.
Sorry, I didn't check back in with you. I wasn't thinking and just tried to blow it off. You quietly took in their stories of what happened. Over to the side, Ko was talking to his dad. Thanks for telling me something was up, though I feel bad for missing the warning when you sent it.
You're welcome.
It's no trouble, sport. I learned my lesson about making surprise plans. Besides, I've got to register every thought that wanders through his head. By yours first, right? That sounds about right, yeah. Cove smiled at his dad. Mr. Holden, laughing, clapped Cove on the back.
Not bad.
Wow, we're really being outplayed today. You realize you hadn't been the only onlookers to the Holden's moment. Your moms were exchanging rueful looks. Liz had her arms crossed over her chest, patiently watching it all unfold. Yes, looks like it. We better find some way to catch up.
In that case,
maybe we can do Z's chores for the next week. Mom jabbed Ma on the shoulder. You might be onto something. Z, how'd you like the sound of that? They looked at you hopefully.